Guys, Joe Munoz here, One Step Prep. It's the number one, onestepprep.com. We just finished uploading the last segments of EET, Extended Envelope Training. Look, if you're flying for a 121 carrier here in the US, it's mandatory training. And if you're flying anywhere, it's mandatory training. Because quite frankly, you've got to know how to recover from upsets in swept wing transport category jets. This is exactly what the video program covers. I'm going to cut to a clip right now where you see a preview. I'm talking about roll stability versus instability. Hopefully you find some value in it. And by the way, if you want the full program, onestepprep.com/EET. Don't miss out on this. Okay? Based on aileron downward deflection, what we would actually find is that this wing would actually see a higher alpha, which means if it's stalled, and what happens if you're stalled and you increase the angle of attack more? You stall more, right? So the already stalled wing would actually end up stalling even more. And this is actually what happened to Colgan Flight 3407. I'm going to drop an image here on your screen now. This is literally a shot from a NTSB animation where we see in a perfect example of roll instability playing out. What you're seeing in this picture is this very tragic, unfortunate event whereby the airframe is stalled, the airfoil more specifically is stalled. Okay? And I'm just going to model it with this aircraft. I know this is not the one obviously involved, but the airfoil is stalled, and as a result, think about your Cessna training. When you were stalling, they always said keep the ball centered, right? Keep the ball centered, keep the ball centered. You don't want a wing to drop. You don't want a wing to drop, right? And of course, if a wing drops, what do? To recover, you unload. You need to push down right away, right? Now, in this particular scenario, what you are seeing in this image is that they are in fact stalled. They end up rolling right, and to recover, left aileron was the input. You can see this input here on the control column. Now, left aileron may appear to be the proper recovery because, of course, if I'm rolling right, the intuitive thing would be to command left aileron. But as we now know, and we're describing in this video, we're in a roll unstable situation here. So if I actually put left aileron, I'm further stalling the right wing because of the downward aileron movement, and as a result of a further stalled right wing, I'm only causing the aircraft to roll over more aggressively than I would have otherwise if we would have just unloaded from the beginning. So remember how a couple videos back I said, look, if you take anything out of this program, it's that you need to unload. The proper recovery, if you're asking yourself, well, Joe, what would they do here now in this particular example? The proper recovery here is to unload the wing. What do I mean by that? I need to take the nose of the airframe, we need to bring it down, we need to nose down so that we actually align the zero lift line with the relative wind. Now with this, what we have is the following. I would literally need to take this airfoil and we would need to shift the nose down slightly, which would thereby decrease this wing. It would look something more like that. My zero lift line would now be aligned with the relative wind. Makes sense? Because remember, before we had this angle like this, right? Now what I did was I brought the whole wing and I shifted it down. So now what I have is a zero lift line that is aligned with the relative wind. This is what's said to be an unloaded airfoil. And of course, flying the zero lift line has many benefits, one of which is the airframe cannot stall. I can't stall an airfoil if I'm flying the zero lift line. It's not possible. So by unloading to this zero lift line, I recover from the stall, I regain flight control effectiveness so that now I put myself back in a more roll stable situation. Roll stable means what? A left aileron will command a left turn. So the way to recover from what you're seeing on your screen right now is to unload to the zero lift line, whereby now I'm not stalling, I can't overstress the airframe, and now my flight control effectiveness has all been returned to a roll stable situation. That's what you would want to do for that particular situation.